Welcome to another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. I'm your host, Jenny Simon. As per usual, grab your popcorn, grab your drink, your tablet, your pill, your notepad. Call everybody. Call your auntie, your nene, your granny, your brothers, your sisters. Call the family. Sit down, relax. We'll be right back. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's sit down, buckle up or buckle down. So you might realize that I'm being attacked and unfortunately by so-called accredited journalists and media personnel. My credibility, my content is under the attack. A so-called credible media personnel called me an imposter. Now, I like when Google to bring definitions to you guys. An imposter is a person who pretends to be someone else in order to deceive others, especially for fraudulent gain. I'm also accused of collecting $4,000 monthly from a ghost. It has to be a ghost, and I'm not sure where they're putting it, but I would like to know myself because I could do with that $4,000 a month. Trust me, right? Truth matters to me, and therefore, my response will be swift and decisive. Swift and decisive. Truth matters to me. And that's why I can say here unequivocally and with no fear that Minister Andy Williams, Minister for MIT, took $115,000 bribe from the contractor of the Cliff Road project in exchange for that contract while acting as Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure. We'll unfold. We'll unfold a little more as we go along. So it's a usual day. Don't panic. I'm here and let's roll. The aim is to get rid of me. The aim is to get, and you guys know why. You guys know why. But I'm not ruffled and I'm not daunted. When I was on the narrative, I was a commentator. And today I remain a commentator and a cosmetologist, of course. I never once posed to be a journalist. I am podcaster and I come through social media. What does that say? I'm in the media, right? You know what I understand and see here is that if you join any one of the media houses, MTV or GBN, even though you're a day young, you're a media worker, right? That's so funny because at that press conference that caused all the stir, and you know why it caused the stir. There was a young lady there. She came with the team from MTV who has just started, but she's a media worker and was ready to join MWAG. The president of MWAG was there and ready to sign up to MWAG. You guys are too funny. You guys are just way too funny. You know, Mr. George Worm and the likes. I'm a cosmetologist and a proud cosmetologist. And all you supposedly investigative journalists Get up and do the work. If I say that Andy Williams took a bribe of $115,000 from Mr. Nelson Louison, the contractor of the Cliff Road project, then investigate. So put on your credible caps and investigate. Don't get upset because the views are more than yours, because nobody's reading that paper anymore. If somebody didn't send that for me this morning, I wake up to it, I would never see it. I wouldn't know. Somebody have to send it for me to know. But I'm coming for you. Trust me, I am coming for you. On Saturday, the 3rd June, I joined my friend Nolene James Thompson, the NNP caretaker for St. David's, as she made her debut, so to speak, in a meet and greet at her office in Lassages, St. David's. I met Nolene 5 years ago, a well-focused, God-fearing young lady, respectful, compassionate, great communication, and the collaboration skills. A woman of courage, integrity, and resilience. In other words, a proper leader. I'll share with you her vision for the constituency of St. David. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mrs. Nolene James Thompson.
Our political leader, Honorable Emlyn Pear, our party chairman, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. Good evening, my beloved people of St. David's and whoever may be visiting from other constituencies. It is with deep gratitude and heartfelt joy that I welcome you to this, our first constituency event since I was officially appointed as your caretaker for St. David's. I want to begin by sincerely thanking each and every one of you for your support, for your encouragement, and most importantly, for your presence here today. Your belief in me, your warm words, and your unwavering commitment to our community have inspired me more than words can express. Brothers and sisters, today marks not just the start of a journey, it marks the continuation of a legacy of service, leadership, and people-centered representation. And I am honored, truly honored, to walk this path with you. My name is Nolene James Thompson, a proud product of the heart of St. David's. I wasn't born into great wealth, but I was born into something far more valuable, a family rooted deeply in the values of service, integrity, and community. Many of you might remember my grandfather, Wong James, a man who began his journey as a teacher, served as a policeman, and later dedicated his life to agriculture, overseeing Lassages Estate and managing the Ashenden and Laura plantations. But beyond my grandfather's professional roles, he was a visionary and community builder, a founding member of the Vincent's Credit Union and the St. David's Benevolent Society. Now, these institutions were created to ensure that people had access to medicine, healthcare, and funeral assistance at a time when many were left to fend for themselves. Now, he didn't wait for government. He acted for the people. So, brothers and sisters, I am the product of a man who built more than estates. He built hope, unity, and trust. It is from that foundation I rise today, not just to speak, but to serve. I stand before you not as someone above or apart, but as one of you. I've walked the same roads, felt the same struggles, and dreamed the same dreams. And I say this clearly: what sets me apart is not just my roots, but my resolve, my commitment to lead with honesty, to listen with intention, and to act with purpose. Brothers and sisters, because when you go to the hospital in pain and in need of care, do you think the doctor or nurse sees yellow or green? No. Of course not. What they see is a person in need. And that's how we must start seeing each other, as human beings first. Brothers and sisters, it's time we start judging our politicians not by party colors, but by performance. Let's stop letting green and yellow divide us while the issues affecting our daily lives go unaddressed. Brothers and sisters, let's talk about the cost of living. When you go to the supermarket, is there an aisle for green or yellow? No. The prices of flour, milk, and gas are the same for everyone. So I ask you, are you better off today than you were 3 years ago? Brothers and sisters, let's not rewrite history. Under the new National Party, we saw real, tangible projects that uplifted our constituency and our nation. The building of the 6 Senses and Intercontinental hotels, which today employ hundreds of Grenadians, including many right here in St. David's. The lighting of Lassages and Malmont playing fields, giving our young athletes safe spaces to train, dream, and grow. The construction of a brand new Nawassa storage plant on Mount Agnes, ensuring better water access for our communities. The housing brigade and toilet and bath program, which brought dignity to our families across St. David's. And brothers and sisters, let's talk about what the current government now calls the WASH program. That's not new. That's just a rebrand of the service the NNP implemented years ago. And what about the low-income houses donated by the Chinese government? These were meant to be distributed to families right here in need in St. David's. Today we are seeing them being sold. Is that the definition of change? Is that building back better? And here's my question. If you campaigned on building back stronger and better, how does that translate in handing a low-income family a wooden house? Are you saying that our low-income families can't live in concrete homes? Are you suggesting that dignity and stability are luxuries meant only for the privileged? That a strong roof and solid walls are only for those who can afford to build it themselves? And don't tell me those are the same houses that were given under the new National Party administration. You didn't campaign on repeating what was done. You campaigned on doing better. You campaigned on advancement, on transformation, on improving the life and quality for every Grenadian.
A visionary. Thank you, Nolene, for inviting me to your debut. I had a grand time. The food was good, the oil down. And oh, the Lambi waters. Oui. It was really good, I must say. I support you 100%. Yes, you can. In other news, former Senator Jonathan Lecret shocked the nation as he launched his party, the People's National Party, PNP. Color white, symbol the nutmeg. Best wishes, Jonathan. Best wishes. Well, folks, my curiosity on the school bus, the school bus program, or should I say on Spice Bus, got me some information over the past week. I asked right here on Simon Says, what's going on with the school bus program, the pilot program? We saw all the demonstrations before with the card and what you have to do and what you have not, and then we heard nothing. The school bus pilot project, aka the Spice Bus, burst. It burst, right? In one school alone, 21 parents returned the card for the bus, citing too many technical stuff to deal with. The ministry asked the principals of the schools to submit a list of the students that needs to be bused, that needs buses back and forth from home to school and school back home, which they did. The ministry then handpicked some students, not knowing in some cases or not paying attention, because I guess surnames might have helped. And in some instances, this grade 6 child is on the bus and her younger sibling, kindergarten, is not on the bus. So they picked who they wanted to be on the bus and they left out who they wanted because they said they can't afford to use everybody, I guess, in the pilot program. The bus owners, our drivers, complain that the time they have to come out, or they asked, the time they told them they need to come out for, they run empty along the way. They pick, no one is there waiting to be picked up. Then they spend the day, and when time for going home, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 sometimes, and in some cases, they don't have the card, and they just tell them, come on the bus, just to not feel guilty of running an empty bus in the evening, in the afternoons as well. So the program has failed. As I said earlier, the parents were returning the cards, and the children can't access the buses without the cards, unless the driver feels just say, come on, and forget about the cards. So all this drama didn't worth it, really. But everything has to be extensive. Everything has to be, so it involves more money, and the more money involves, the more money can go missing. But you know what I say? It's God that working on all you. God. God don't like ugly. And you guys, I make no apologies to say you are a wicked bunch. You are a wicked bunch. And God will take care of you. A simple thing like a school bus program, y'all couldn't get right. Nothing y'all touch blossoms. Absolutely nothing. In other news, some residents have been complaining from time to, this residents of Calome has been complaining from time to time of issues they have been having with sewer and the sewer system up there. Yes, it didn't fix totally. And there are residents that are really suffering. I've been up there as recent as a few days ago, and I've seen it and I've smelt it. It's not good. I don't know how people could live in those conditions. But I guess what can they do? That's their home. They have kids, right? The authority hired a contractor to try and remedy the situation. And more than a year now, since November 2023, as a matter of fact, they started working on the chamber lines, I was told. The housing authority said they are waiting on NAWASA for pipes. Work was supposed to resume in January of 2024. Nothing happened. Then June of 2024, to no avail. If you let's look at a video that my team and I took when we were up there this past week. Also, you'd look on your screen, you'll see some still shots as well. Folks, I have been there. I viewed it firsthand. There is a stench that rises with the wind, the constant wetness. It's like, when rain fall and full of potholes, the sewer water. I don't know if it made the potholes. It looked like it actually made the potholes, but there are potholes, and those holes are filled with sewage water, right? And when the neighbor, whichever one family, flush their toilets, it bubbles. Yeah, it bubbles. And then along the side of the road, the little slope where the water, if rainfall, that's supposed to run out, the water that's running there is green and black and brown, and it's all this color, real algae looking colors that's there, right there, in open, in open. There's a big hole, and these people have to try and get like plywood and cover the holes, right? In one's by the door, this big hole, and when you look, you can see the sewer water, and they cut to just cover it with a piece of ply and put brick on it. The workmen left huge open holes. It was covered with some sort of rubber mat or something, and it's there over a year. So of course it dry rot, and it's breaking up now. And if you're not careful, which one of the residents, who she knows it there, because she's been one of the ones who've been vocal and complaining months now, slipped and fell. If you look on the screen, you'll see photos. And she's and let's play the video where she's showing you exactly what happened. Look for yourself. She fell and bruised. Look at her. Look at her legs. Look at her thighs. So it's just accidents waiting to happen. How can you treat animals should not even be treated like that. And then these are the same people you asking to pay for the lands that their homes been on for 12, 13, 14, 15 years. I've walked the state of their homes. These people cannot even afford to renovate their houses, to put a little paint on the outside. Well, you're painting the streets every other day. And then you're asking them to pay $6, $7, $8 to $15,000 for lands that then they had no idea they had to pay for, because that was never in the deal. That was never the deal. There's a lingering stench they have to deal with all day, every day. It's really heartbreaking, my friends. It's really heartbreaking. And Simon says we'll keep you up to date on this one, calling on the authorities, to whomever it may concern. Please help the residents of Calome. They are falling sick, and the stench is there. Please help them. They don't deserve that. They don't deserve that. Moving along. Now, weeks ago, we brought to you a story of the suspension of the Heng Sheng group pending an investigation. You might remember me saying here that that was a bluff, and that's make believe, all in an effort to appease the whistleblower. Mr. Lee and the Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, they're tight as wax. All when Mr. Lee was being investigated the Prime Minister was partying with Mr. Lee in Dubai. What does that say to us? So I'm going to read to you a snippet of Circular number 6 of 2025, IMA Grenada, follow-up to disciplinary measures related to Singapore Hengsheng Grenada Development, PT Limited, Hengsheng, the Grenada National Resort, GNR approved the project. June 4, 2025, further to Circular number 3 of 2025, issued on March the 18th, 2025, regarding disciplinary actions taken against Singapore Hengsheng Grenada Development Limited, PT Limited, and the Grenada National Resort and Investment Migration Agency, IMA, provides the following update. These measures are intended to uphold the integrity of Grenada's Citizenship by Investment Program, CBI, while adopting a proportionate, fair, and risk-based regulatory approach. 1. Interim findings. Interim enhanced due diligence, EDD, assessments have not found evidence of direct owner financing. However, post-approval owner financing has been uncovered, and some applicants have exhibited unresolved financial inconsistencies and irregularities. Those applications will be returned as outlined in Section 3 below. Resumption of processing of applications effective immediately. The IMA will resume processing of applications with the agency as at March 19, 2025, associated with Hengsheng and the Grenada National Resort. Applicants have provided international due diligence, independently verified source of funds, documentary evidence. These files have not exhibited indications of illegal discounting or owner financing as assessed through enhanced due diligence investigation. So basically, what this is saying is like 3 pages. We have a lot to cover. So they're back, basically. Hengsheng is back, right? Now, meanwhile, another CBI agent on the Grenada Citizenship by Investment Program is the talk of another scandal. Well, as of today, it's not just talk. I have a letter of suspension here that was issued today, the 6th of June, 2025. This time, it's a local licensed agent, Mr. Colin Bishop, accused of defrauding CBI applicants and sending unauthorized client email. Now, I'm going to read to you some of this as well. It's also long. I'm going to try to do my best here. Grenada Citizenship by Investment scandal, Colin Bishop, accused of defrauding CBI applicants and sending unauthorized client emails. St. George's, Grenada, May 2025. Now, this been in the making since May 2025. And Mr. Bishop was allowed to take part in the symposium. And he traveled with, well, he's always in Dubai. And he was, but if you look on the screen, you see him in photos with the Prime Minister. It's another one of his eater food friends who are really eating food. Now, Colin Bishop, Managing Director of Reef View Enterprise, a licensed local agent under the Grenada Citizen by Investment CBI program, is at the center of a growing scandal involving allegations of fraud, deception, and the misappropriation of investors' funds. Multiple applicants to Grenada prestigious CBI program have come forward with claims that Mr. Bishop solicited substantial payments under the pretense of securing citizenship while making unauthorized promises on behalf of the government of Grenada, according to affected individuals. Bishop accepted installment payments intended for the Grenada government, but failed to remit these funds through the appropriate official channels. Investigation revealed that Mr. Bishop, acting through Review Enterprises, exploited his licensed agent status to build trust with international investors seeking Grenada citizenship through real estate investment and donation routes. Victims alleged that he provided false assurances regarding application timelines, guaranteed approvals, and even implied government endorsed fast tracking, promises that have since been proven to be baseless. One investor, speaking under the condition of anonymity, shared, and I'm quoting here, Colin Bishop presented himself as an official representative, gave us documents that appeared legitimate, and took several payments over the course of a year. In the end, no application was submitted and our funds were never accounted for. Calls remain unserved. In addition to installment payments, it has also emerged that Bishop solicited and accepted substantial lobbying fees from individuals whose applications have been formally declined by the Citizen by Investment Program Review Board. Victims alleged that Bishop promised to leverage his contacts within the CIU and government circles, close and directly with the Prime Minister, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, to reserve board decision and secure approvals, claims which legal experts have dismissed as both unethical and procedurally impossible during the program's regulations. Now, this, as I said, it's 2.5 pages long. I need to find part of this that implicates one of our advisors to the government. Let's see if I can find it here for you. Right. Because it's important that it's like there's a magnet to this NDC administration where all kind of conmen, that's their friends, and that's who has risen to the top since they're coming into office, and they are all corrupt. They are all corrupt. Now, and I'm taking it here, legal experts additionally pointed out that such actions violate multiple international privacy and data protection frameworks, including General Data Protection Regulations, Article 6, 13, and 14, the OECD guidelines on the protection of privacy and trans-border flows of personal data, and the United Nations guidelines for consumer protection under Grenadian law, falsely claiming to represent a government agency to solicit payments constitutes fraud and misrepresentation. These breaches of privacy and the data protection laws are being taken very seriously by affected clients, many of whom are now in contact with legal authorities and considering joining a class action lawsuit against Reef Review Enterprises, Colin Bishop, Crown Capital Grenada Inc., and Kendall Alexander in his individual capacity. Now, Kendall Alexander is the advisor. He is managing director of Capital Grenada Inc., and advisor to the economic development, tourism, ICT, and creative economy of the Cabinet of Grenada. Mr. Colin Bishop rode with Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell on the RSS aircraft to the cricket in Barbados. From cricket, they went on to St. Lucia to drop off Prime Minister Philip J. Pear, all while enjoying the luxuries of the airport's VIPs. All in an effort to get rich quick. They all, and some of them can't even take their time. They're going to get rich even though he's a CBI agent. But no, it's to do all sorts of crooked things. And that's what they don't want us to talk about. And that's why they're trying to get rid of Jenny for Simon Says. But that's why I will continue to speak up and continue to inform you, the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, the ones of you in the diaspora. Thank you for listening, and thank you for believing. They're all true. Thank you. Thank you. Simon Says we'll keep you posted on that. Now, all of that's the article that blew the whistle on Mr. Colin Bishop and Mr. Kendall Alexander. Now, as of today, the 6th of June 2025, the IMA, the Investment Migration Agency, under the direction of the Citizen by Investment Committee, hereby notifies all stakeholders that effective June the 6th, 2025, Reef View Enterprise Limited has been suspended from operating as a local agent until further notice under the Grenada Citizenship by Investment CBI program. The action is taken following the committee's review of serious breaches of the agent's obligations, including the alleged misappropriation of investors' funds and other conduct deemed detrimental to the integrity of the program. Our investigation began on March 2025, and this decision was made in the interest of preserving the integrity, transparency, and proper administration of the CBI program. And key points: Review Enterprises Limited is no longer authorized to submit applications or represent clients under the program. All active and pending applications previously handled by Review Enterprise Limited are currently under review. Going forward, designated marketing agents for each file will be contacted directly regarding the next step for file transition, investor communication, and continued processing under the program. And some other stuff, but as I said, we don't have the time to read. It's just so you can get an idea as to what's going on with the CBI, and our local agents are now turning it up. I understand it's alleged that Mr. Bishop is somewhere hiding out. Not sure if it's in Grenada or abroad. I understand he has business in Dubai, and word is they're looking for him in Dubai. Understand he's hiding from the Russians. It's just a whole. It's a big saga, and we await further information from the CBI program. Now, after calling the Beyond the Headlines program about 20 times on Monday evening, I eventually got through close to the end of the program. And it did not last long. I got cut off. Not I got cut off, they cut me off. I was told, it was going on and it was too long, and gave the minister, Andy Williams, of MIT, was on there, and gave him a chance to answer. And it is important for you to know, because you see, if someone like me don't come to you with the blatant lies, the misleading of the nation, because numbers and figures are just tossed and thrown. Where they stick, they stick. Who believe, believe. And these guys know that they're lying. But I'll expose them today. On Wednesday the 5th, I therefore attended a press conference because I saw the flyer, and basically two of the three of them, well, Ron Redhead is no longer a member of the cabinet, but Tevin Andrew and Andy Williams, together with the PRO, Ron Redhead, was hosting this press conference. And I thought, if I stay at home and try to call in, they probably block me or cut me off or whatever. So I went in. I did not go in there as a journalist. I walked in. Ron Redhead and Tevin Andrew was already there. We sat, we chat, we laughed, almost like good old times. And I was telling them that if I was still a member of the NDC before I resigned, I would be like almost 28 years card-bearing member of the NDC. Paid a financial card-bearing member, which means I pay my dues. I paid my dues. And sometimes I smile when I see certain persons in Facebook commenting and badgering people and bullying people and pretending to be a Rottweiler for the NDC. Not paid a cent dues. Have not paid 1 cent, have not contributed 1 penny towards the growth of the NDC. Not one. But we ain't going to get into that today. Our time for all of that will come. We have an election coming up. All of that will come. Right? So I went to the press conference. Sat there. The minute the other minister, Andy, came in, sat down, started to sweat. For whatever reason, the room wasn't hot. It was air conditioned. It's a small room. It was actually cold in there. Your MWAG president came in, scoffed at me, saying, we have a new media worker, scoffed, sat down. The conference began. She was the first up to ask questions because she went and secured the mic very early, long before the press conference started. She was the first to ask questions, giggled and grinned with them, and left. I am hearing she walked out. I don't know at which point was that walk out, because she's finished her job. She asked questions. I assume she had other things to do. She's a journalist, right? She's credible. She's accredited, right? So I'm not a journalist. No, far from. And I'm not pretending to be. So when it came to me, because the young lady, the baby, the child looked like she can barely speak. My grandson probably speaks better than her. She didn't have anything to say. She didn't have a question to ask. And the other one who accompanied her, she spent more time outside than inside, and didn't have a question either. But they had a cameraman there, so I guess they all came together. So they were waiting on him. And the moderator of the press conference, Ron Redhead, the PRO, he said to me, Sister Jenny, who are you here representing? What media house? Is it Simon Says? I said, yes, Simon Says, and the people. I always say the people because I'm representing the people through Simon Says, always, always. And he said, proceed with your questioning. So I am shocked to hear the ray about what I was doing there, and I am not supposed to be there, and I'm not a media worker, and what I'm very shocked. Because if when I entered, they told me I couldn't be here, and show me proof why I can't be there, if they have some act that stipulates who's supposed to be at these press conferences, or if it was a private press conference and they said you're not allowed in, only so certain people we want in, I would have left. I would have left, right? But I was allowed in. We sat, we chat, we laughed, right? You know what's funny? I was cursed. I mean, for being at the press conference. Like I couldn't, I'm not accredited. I'm not a media worker. I listen to some of these persons that are so-called media workers. And if I must say so myself, not close. They can't come close to Simon Says. And I know that is one of the things that are not just they're using media workers, as a matter of fact, to try and take down Simon Says. It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen because I said before on this program, I'm going to say it again. If I have to stand on the street corner with a megaphone, or if I'm not allowed to use the megaphone, now you could tell I have a loud voice, I would stand and I would let the people know. I'm not going to tape up my mouth as some people who say they were social activists and now they're political activists, and today they're getting a Build Back Better house in Carriacou when they didn't lose a house. They didn't have one to lose in the first place. Now, all these corrupt practices are what they're trying to prevent you guys from knowing. So it seems like the only way to become or to enter, well, that's okay. No, I could go and join one of the media houses. And if I join today, I could go to a press conference today and be a media worker and join MWAG. Because right there, the president is soliciting the young lady who don't know which way is up. And you can tell, to join MWAG. She just maybe started at the beginning of the month. By next week, you probably won't see her. Yeah, to join MWAG. But when she took the mic, she made it clear that she was only addressing members of the media and the panel, right? That's funny. I don't want to be a journalist. I'd rather not be a media worker. I am quite happy being a podcaster at the moment. I was attacked by the editor of the online newspaper, the New Today. I'm not sure which it is, because the name changes to evade paying monies from court cases lost. So the name changes. I'm not sure what it is today because I pay no attention to that paper. Something that had me baffled was hearing of comments, oh, there, that journalists and media workers do not go to press conferences with rumors. That I'm just like, excuse me? So then what are you going there for? You hear something, and so you want to know whether it's true or not. Where better to go than a press conference where the persons involved are, so you can ask them straight up, this is what you're hearing. Is this true? You ask questions at a press conference. If you know everything, what are you doing at the press conference? Right? If you know everything, what are you doing there? So you go to get the truth, right? But you won't in some cases. Because if I'm a government worker, if I'm a minister of government, and I committed bribery, which is a crime, by the way, and I write some bounce checks. In the case of one company, 9 amounting to $149,000 still owing the company, right? And you come to me in a press conference in front of a camera where the world can see, and you said to me, and if you come to me and said, Miss Simon, did you receive $115,000 bribe money, 100,000 cash and 115 to fix your vehicle from the contractor of the Cliff Road project in exchange for the contract for his contract? Is that true, Miss Simon? What do you expect me to say? Yes? No, right? Because a lot is in stake here. That's our designated acting prime minister, right? That's the man of the hour. And of course, he wants a second term in office. So will he? No, don't you worry, right? So I went there to confront him because on Beyond the Headlines, somebody called in and asked him that question, and he didn't answer. It's as if he has a recording in his head to talk about that if you continue so, you will not encourage young people to join politics. So are we telling young people it's okay to turn a blind eye, right? Because we don't want young people to know that our politicians are corrupt. So don't say anything, because if they know they're corrupt, they wouldn't come, they wouldn't want to come in. And not only if they know they're corrupt, but if people like me hold them to the fire, hold their feet to the fire, they wouldn't want to come in. But no, all the young people have to do is to come in and be honest and don't touch what is not theirs. Don't spend the country's money wildly. They give you 24 million to spend, you're spending 37, and nobody could see where it's gone. Don't have contractors calling contractors down, bring your ID and come, walk them to the bank, change a check, 2 checks amounting to $45,000, take back the cash, you go, we'll contact you once you're ready to do the work, a $15,000 job, right? What happens to that money? We call a second contractor to change checks for that same job. And when the first contractor finally did the job for $15,000 and he went in to collect his pay, he received $15,000 cash money from the permanent secretary in the Ministry of MIT, who is the first cousin of Andy Williams, who is a minister. 15,000 in a ministry, 15,000. I had to have a safe in there. I was reliably informed that they have a safe. Well, the kind of cash that moves between throughout that office back and forth, you must have a safe. You must have a safe. You don't want to end up like the minister who was hiding it under books and thing and the driver steal it, right? So now, we must just turn a blind eye and allow them to steal our monies, allow them to commit bribery crime, allow them to commit the crime of bounce checks. That's crime by our law. I showed you on this program where a young man went to jail for doing so. 9 checks, $149,000. You might make a mistake and bounce one check. You didn't balance properly, or you didn't mind your business, you didn't check anything. And not for thousands of dollars. Because you must know if you have $25,000 or $50,000 in your account. You mightn't sure if you have 1,000 or 1,500, or if the check would pass, or $200-300. You may not sure. But when it comes to that kind of figure, you know. So that means you're willfully doing it. Right? As a matter of fact, writing bounce check to cover bounce check. Now, this is who the media of Grenada is protecting and trying to vilify me for saying, and I'm going to say it again, that Andy Williams took a bribe of $115,000, 100,000 in his hand, and 15 to fix his pickup truck for the exchange of contract for Mr. Nelson Lewison to get the contract on the Cliff Road project. Now, yeah, I hear me say, you go teach me something and you want to teach me. And I smiled because what I said was, he signed off on the contract. Now, a PS signs the contract, but a PS can't sign a contract if a minister in agree and write and said, yes, let's do this, we think, and the PS signs, right? He said, I am the minister of MIT, and the contract was signed with infrastructure. Yes, I know that it was signed with infrastructure, but did the minister of infrastructure okayed it? No, he was in the clouds. And you, Andy Williams, was acting as prime minister and minister for infrastructure. Yes, you. And you used the chance to sell your house that the Development Bank Board, the NBC Development Bank Board, headed by Andrea St. Bernard, gave you back your securities, securing millions of dollars of monies you got from that bank, should not have gotten it according to the Constitution, right? They gave you back your securities. Now do you have an unsecured loan? You sold the house to Mr. Nelson Lewison for $600,000, and you got the little, look, right? And you now saying it never happened. After you make wrong, beat wrong, I am saying it. And I am asking you, Mr. Andy Williams, if that is not true, I think I must be saying this about more than a year now on this show. Sue me. Sue me if it's not true. Nearer, my God, to thee. Nearer to thee. It's coming, baby. It's coming. Now, here is an accredited journalist at the press conference, right? And here, listen closely to the questions asked. The number one accredited journalist in town, yeah?
But he's been employed.
Okay, and Dr. Mitchell, finally, several weeks ago, the entire nation, you are one of the most loved prime ministers we've ever had, and the entire nation had heard that you were unwell My mother was certainly very concerned when she heard the news. She called me for information. I had none to give her. But can you give us some information on what would have, without giving us your medical records, can you give us some information on what transpired, sir? And a question that I asked...
If you hear my medical record, you'll be very happy. No, I'm sure, Calistria, and for all of you, I don't think it's the first time you heard that I have collapsed and a heart attack, and I'm very sick and so on. And this has happened several times. Family members are calling me, what am I hearing? This is not the first time. I heard I wasn't supposed to be in hospital here, and they rushed me off. I left here, normal flight, to go and do my business and so on. No, I am fine. As far as health, one thing you know about me, that whatever has to happen to me will have to happen to me without my encouraging it. I'm very conscious, and I've always cautioned people, don't wait until something happens. Men know what normally happens to them. Go check yourself. Exercise, eat appropriately, don't use drugs and other things that destroy you and so on and create problems for you. You have a little alcohol, don't overdo it. And anything you do, do it in moderation and so on. And I always encourage people. So I'm not going to be the best candidate for things happening overnight, but anything could happen to anybody because we don't control anything. So it's unfortunate that when people would make statements as if they're wishing you go sick. Sickness is not something we should make joke with, Sickness will never should be something. It's unfortunate that nothing, no holds are barred when we're dealing with people that we don't like, because it has to be a mischievous element to have said that they hurt me. My wife was in hospital, and I went to see her, but I wasn't in hospital. So I don't know where this thing went on 4 weeks ago that I had collapsed. So if somebody here that I went to see my doctor in New York or wherever, it's something I do every 6 months. Every 6 months I do a PSA, I do all my blood tests, I check cholesterol, I check everything. I don't play with this because I know that anything could happen. It could be good today and tomorrow something. In fact, I challenge men. The minute you reach 40, sometime earlier now because of some diseases are occurring 40, go check yourself, because the chances of survival, if you catch early in almost any disease, is high. The problem is when you wait too long, then it becomes a serious problem. And I'm fortunate, my mom has given me very good genes, so I am fortunate in that respect. So if I take care of what they give me, and I don't abuse it, and I'm not an abuser in any sense of the word, so I think I should be all right.
Well, I am sorry to hear that Mrs. Mitchell was unwell, and I noticed.
But I think that was known.
I noticed you referred to her as my wife. Does that mean the rumors, sir, that you had been divorced are not true, sir?
Calistria, don't go there. Don't go there.
You're a public figure, sir.
My private life. Don't go there at all. I just want to say this. I live people's private life for them, because I know you won't want your private life to be exposed. None of us here want it. Leave my private life alone. Thank you.
Did she say there were rumors? Oh my God. There were rumors? Journalists and accredited journalists saying that? You guys are some jokers. But you're going to stay there and look. If you want to look on your back, they're going to bring the news for you about Simon Says. Trust me. Now, the minister started out by announcing that and that's on beyond the headlines, that he became a politician because he got a vision. No, okay, he got a vision. And that's where the lies started. The lies, the distorted statements, the deception, the misleading of the nation started. Hear him here.
you know, when God gives you a chance, is for you to return the favor and to see how you can help people also. And I think not just for me, but for the Almighty, and you know, and it shows that you're doing the right thing. And when I got into politics, it was, you know, a vision that I got from the Almighty, where, you know, I was battling if to say yes or if to say no. And when I got that vision, you know, that's when I was convinced that this is where I had to be. Someone was telling me before the elections that in order for the NDC to win, you know, you have to get a certain amount of people coming out to vote, and this and that. And I said, listen, I understand everything that you just said, but I got a vision from the Almighty. And so said, so done. So I know me being in this position here is not just Andy in this position, but, you know, sometimes, you know, that, you know, the Almighty places a purpose on your life, and for me, I'm only a small part of the equation, and there's a bigger picture that.
Now, off the bat, the minister was asked to give an assessment of the journey of the NDC to date. Here is the NDC delivery in his words.
As the NDC administration approaches its 3-year anniversary, how would you assess the journey thus far in terms of delivery, impact, and learned lessons?
Well, first of all, when we were campaigning, we made certain promises to the people, yeah, and it is documented in our manifesto in terms of, you know, what if we were to come in office, what we will do. And for us, the manifesto guides us as our policies and programs. Yeah, in terms of delivery, when we came in office, we promised people about the pension. Yeah, we promised a pay pension. When we came in, we did just that in a matter of months. Yeah, we also promised bi-monthly salaries. Again, we delivered on that in a matter of months. We spoke about, even for the young people, the free tuition for NULO and TAMCC. And again, we delivered on that. When you look at the amount of young people that are enrolling now in NULO and TAMCC, the numbers has increased by over 100 and something in both NULO and TAMCC. When you look at the School for Continuing Education, the number increased again. When you look at the technical part, we are seeing almost a 20% increase in the number of students that is enrolled in the program. So we are trying our best to deliver on our manifesto promises, even things like minimum wage. Every 3 years, according to law, the minimum wage is supposed to be reviewed every 3 years. The last time it was reviewed was in 2000, was when the last NDC government was in office.
Yes, I recall that.
Right. Now, and we came in office and immediately we reviewed it and we altered it. I remember when we were having a consultation and when we wanted to increase the minimum wage, people from the other side was saying, you know, was asking people not to support it. Imagine someone is working for like $700 or $800 a month in this economy. We increased it to $1,200 a month. And some of the talk that was around was like, if you increase the minimum wage, then certain companies may, you know, may suffer from it, and they may have to lay off staff. And I remember that, you know, people were being discouraged to support the minimum wage. Now we are seeing we increase it, and it's so amazing because right now we are at a stage in our country where every day businesses are calling and saying, Andy, I need workers in construction, in supermarkets, all over. So it just shows, you know, that, you know, sometimes when people say certain things, you know, you have to wonder to yourself if they really mean good for you. Because now we increase the minimum wage and we cannot get workers still in the country. Yeah.
Can you speak to whether employers, for the most part, have been conforming to this new minimum wage? Because there have been reports of some employers who still are sort of fickling around more or less with the issue, right, and not honoring what should be.
Well, I've heard about it. But I would encourage anyone, if that's the case, please contact the Ministry of Labor. Let them deal with it. Because the minimum wage is something that has been set by law. And if someone is not paying the minimum wage, then they are breaking the law. And if you're breaking the law, then it will have its discourse. So if anyone is in that position, I will ask them to report it to the Ministry of Labor so that it can be dealt with immediately.
No, you see, it's easy to go on a program and said that you hear they say they were members of the other side who telling people don't support, don't accept the minimum. Who would do that? And who is that individual that can tell me not to accept more money, more pay, and I would do it? I mean, you can just tell that's made up stories. That's lies. And well, you know the saying, a liar is a thief, and a thief is a liar. Plain talk, right? It's just lies after lies after lies, right? The government, the administration are guilty. They are guilty of not honoring that act. They have not been paying workers the new minimum wage 100%. The government of Grenada. But I have a question for the minister. What are the capital projects listed in their manifesto? Right? They're ticking boxes. After 3 years, not one capital project. I mean, we do the thing about the pension and the doc salaries, the minimum wage. Did he say bi-monthly? Because that one does come in there too. That we know that. Been there, done it, we've heard that. So you did that in the first few months you came in, as you say. In a few months. What after that? We in year 3. What have you done after that? You're going to go down the road to the wire and said all you did was pension, and any administration that came into office, they would have had to pay the pension. It's a court order. It's a court order. Now, since 2022 to 2023, to date, we hear of pension, doc salaries, minimum wage increase bi-monthly, the free school feeding program. I'm saying it for you. I don't think I hear you own that one, right? That bus anyway, because schools have been sending out letters to parents saying there's no school feeding program anymore. $1 you took from the people, don't pay it, and you can't keep it up, right? Then there is the free tuition program to TAMCC and Nulu. It's not a success story. And all this talk about 20% increase in registration is another lie. You cannot prove it because I got information from TAMCC that the registration remained the same. Between 2,000, 2,100 students. It did not go up or down. It remained the same. What increased was the dropouts. Because kids are dropping out because they don't have transportation. In some cases, they don't have school clothing. In other cases, they don't have the materials and the equipment and the tools. Because all you did was give free tuition. And in the parliament, the opposition was saying to you guys, please revisit that. Because everybody, there's those who can pay their tuition, let them pay it. And the ones that cannot pay, that money you were going to give to someone who can well afford their tuition, use it for transportation, for clothing, for food in some cases, for books. What it is if you pay for my schooling and I can't go to school? If I'm from St. Andrew and I can't get to TAMCC in Tantine on a day, what's the point? What, you're giving me free tuition and I don't have clothes to wear, I don't have a shoe to put in my foot, and I can't pay the bus. Some $16 a day or something like that in some cases. Maybe on $20 for some kids, depending on what part of St. Andrew or St. Patrick or wherever they're coming from. Right? So that's a lie. You have no data to show that there was no 20% increase. And in some cases, as in NULO, where they do the technical work, teachings, they have to have tools. And in some cases, their fees are much more than the tuition fee to purchase these items. In the meantime, TAMCC, they are ready to protest again. The staff would like you to know that there has been no payment from the government of Grenada for their 5% increases and the increments for the last 2 years. Where is the union leader, Jude Bartholomew? Where are you, sir? And not only the lecturers didn't get paid, but everyone employed by TAMCC and not seconded by the government. Well, the note says industrial actions are pending. You know, it's been branded about in Parliament, on talk shows, on podcasts, everywhere. I've heard it several times on all platforms. Now, in the 2024 estimates of revenue and expenditure, this is what the representative for St. Andrews Southeast had to say on that.
But as a member on the other side, who I believe now, I have reason to believe, is deliberately referring to this program as the free education program. Mr. Speaker, it says free tuition program. That's what it is. I heard the member for St. Patrick East said that we criticized this program. Mr. Speaker, if you go back, and I make no joke with these things, if you go back, you would find that I said I supported this. And if I support and I follow with some constructive criticism, nothing wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. It is intended to help to make the thing better and to improve for other people, right? Nothing is wrong with that. That nothing. Mr. Speaker, under the free tuition program, I want to just share a few observations, and I'll stick to my own constituency in case you don't want me to go there. So, Mr. Speaker, there's no objection to this program. Absolutely none. You have the money, you could give everybody. We've always said that. We didn't have it to give everybody. You have it to give everybody, no problem. We will talk about that. Mr. Speaker, so if you have enough money now to give everybody free tuition, no problem. Why nothing? Mr. Speaker, what I would say is let us be a little more considerate now to the many students who have received free tuition but are still having trouble going to school. Because, Mr. Speaker, having free tuition and no transportation don't make a lot of sense. Mr. Speaker, well, you know, I try to avoid responding, and please don't tempt me too much, because when you say that, and you talking about 2024, I am not talking about 2024. I'm talking about children who dropped out in 2023 because of this problem, Mr. Speaker. So don't tell me what's going to happen in 2024. Try not to disturb me, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, under our administration, we gave free tuition to students, but we did not just stop it at free make sure and make it clear because I don't want anybody to say that I said what did not exist. We did not give to everybody. We could not afford to give to everybody. But we gave to those persons throughout the length and breadth of Grenada who applied and expressed an interest and were in need. But Mr. Speaker, on top of that, we didn't say here is free tuition, that's it. Transportation support was provided, Mr. Speaker. Uniform support was provided, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, supported with exam fees. So you give the free tuition, and now after I would have benefit from the free tuition, I cannot now do the exam because I cannot pay for the exam. So all I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, is this. This is great, free tuition. But it does not benefit many people that I represent because even when they receive it, they are still unable to assist their children to go to school. So I am not going to say cut it, you know. I'm not going to say cut it and take from the people who could afford. I'm going to say based on your reports, you can now add on transportation. You can now add on meals allowance. You can now add on assistance to pay for examinations based on your glowing reports. Mr. Speaker, all I would add to that, even if it means taking 2 million from the 14 million for independence, even if it means taking something from the 213% increase in CBI revenue, Mr. Speaker, whatever it takes, Mr. Speaker, let us do something for these children more. But you know, that's not the only point that's significant. Because a student who is going to New Law at MCC, who has transportation, let us imagine, they have tuition, they have transportation, they have meal. Mr. Speaker, do you know that in addition to the tuition at TAMCC and New Law, there are other fees, Mr. Speaker? And Mr. Speaker, some of those can go as high as 1,000 plus. And Mr. Speaker, because of that, there are some students who right now are unable to attend to those institutions because they can only access tuition. Mr. Speaker, I know of a time when tuition was provided, but we also paid for the toolkit. We also paid for the other things where people were not able to access it, but it was necessary to attend school.
And she was ignored. She was coughed at. I remember it. She was coughed at. They know what they're doing, right? Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell on Boss FM recently, and I'm paraphrasing here, basically said what the now leader of the opposition said. Tuition without transportation it makes no sense. Let's hear Prime Minister.
When we do our budget, we don't do a budget just from the perspective of 12 months. We do the budget from the 12-month perspective, yes, because the law requires it, but we also do it from a medium to long-term perspective. So you would see that every year we are going to build on things. So if we take education, for example, we could take TAMCC and, we said we'll do free tuition. You've seen that was in 2023, 2024, and into 2025, you see we're talking about piloting the school bus program. So that we recognize transportation is an issue, because even if the students can go to TAMCC for free, but they live in Guelph and they can't afford the bus, or the bus system is inadequate, then it means they may still not be able to go to TAMCC. So we recognize we have to address that issue as well. But transportation is expensive. It's obviously run by the private sector, and we have to work with them. So that's
the said thing. All this thing about a budget is not for 1 year, budget is for the year. That's why they do it annually. And you're building on and transportation. The school bus program failed. So you had to go back to the drawing board, right? And the regular bus system doesn't help because some kids have to wait for their parents to go home. They can't go home, they're alone. So some of them go to their parents' office, they wait, and they go home together. Now, that's what you have to fix. That mess that takes place at the bus terminus, where hundreds of people, especially for the western side, is there waiting on a bus. And when a child comes from school with their mom, their parents from work, at 4:30, they're standing there till 6 and 7, and some cases 8 o'clock. That's what we have to fix. But where the Trini, that's the chairman of the board, that come with all the nice talk about that have to fix, and then no, we can't have that. And well, where the Trini? Bring in, anyhow, let me not detour because we have a good ways to go still. We're gonna deal with that another time, right? Now, listening to this guy, and I'm speaking about Mr. Williams, Andy Williams, on the Beyond the Headline, on the execution of major capital projects. Let's hear him.
Project 500. We are taking steps to improve the housing stock in Grenada. Not just housing stock, but when you go to some places and you see the conditions that people are living in, it's just sad. And that is why I could tell you, for just last year alone, if you combine MIT and the Ministry of Social Development, we built over 1,000 houses for people. We also constructed about 800 bathroom and toilets for people.
And that's across Grenada?
Across Grenada. And that just last year, and we still continue. At the end of the day, politics is about people. So if we are involved in politics, we should be trying to improve the lives of our people, and we are doing just that.
Well, they said they have a new project coming on, a new program. I don't know what to call it anyway, a bus tour. And his words, he don't want to teach me, but he talk about a bus. You're going to hear him later about a bus tour. And they're taking you up, picking you up, and they're bringing you on a bus tour to see the achievements. I want to go on one of those bus tour because I want to see where the 1,000 houses and the 800 bathroom and toilet are. So I would be first in line for the bus tour. I work with my band-aid do when I bus my toe. But he said, you want to teach me? I would teach you something. It must be crazy. You think that's the best of what you... They wouldn't allow me to come back to talk. He alone would talk and say all sorts of wrong things. Certain figures and 1,000 houses. Now I know which ones are they, or if it's a total of, because we know not one Project 500 house is finished yet. So I'm not sure what is he talking about, right? Now, where are these houses? 1,000 houses. And where are the 800 bathrooms built? The pilot project was held in St. David's. I think it was 36 or 37 done in St. David's. And then they were supposed to move on to a constituency. We never heard anything about that, right? So if you build 37 in St. David, and we know St. David's going to get the most, right? How you reach at 800? And you know what's funny? The main spokesperson on the Ride Along program last Tuesday, it was, when speaking about bathroom and toilets, he was listing the achievements as well. He said they built over 50 bathrooms and toilets. Now that sounds like a better figure. If you do 37 in St. David's and a 2 here and a 2 there and a 5 there, now we're talking 800. No, that's a lie. 1,000 houses. That's another lie. But then again, he have to say that because you have to remember the big allocations he's been given, both in the supplemental and in the regular budget present. And we don't have an account for these monies. We have no account for these monies, right? So now, they don't sit down. They don't even sit down together and say, this is what we're going to lie about. So we're going to say 800 toilets and bathroom and 1,000 houses, right? They don't even sit down and put it together properly. Now let's hear number 10 on bathroom and toilets. Because on that program, the spokesperson said, because somebody might have said, well, it's not this is nothing new. The NNP had that toilet and bathroom program. He said they never built no toilet and bathroom, not one. They never built no toilet and bathroom. Let's hear number 10.
But it's also important to note, Mr. Speaker, that this new bathroom and toilet program, a very first program for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Martinique, we always hear about Sir Eric Gary and the development he has done. But we have never heard of bathroom and toilet in his time. A caring new national party government, Mr. Speaker, during a COVID pandemic, when we collected less revenue, introduced a bathroom and toilet to lift our people out of poverty. So our people not stupid, Mr. Speaker. We can.
Now, mind you, this 800 toilets and bathroom and 1,000 houses, that was built in 2024, just in that year, the year 2024. They built 1,000 houses and 800 toilet and bathroom. Now let's talk about Project 500. Now, by the way, my question was answered. Remember, I keep asking, is Mr. Randy Donald in charge of Dolan, in charge of the housing projects? Because the prefabs in Carriacou, Project 500, he's there. He was walking along with Tanti Glow. He's there. Well, the question was answered. At the press conference on Wednesday, the PRO run with it announced there that Mr. Randy Dorland is in charge of the Project 500 program. We already know he's bringing in the prefab for that's been built in the dump in Carriacou. And now we've been told that he is in charge of Project 500. We have a housing authority and we have a ministry of housing. Mr. Randy Dorland is the chairman of the Tourism Authority Board, among other things. But of course, he's another friend who have to eat the food. If you look on your screen, and I want you to circle it, that's Mr. Randy Dorland there, knocking glasses with the Prime Minister. Now, Project 500 was announced during the campaign of 2022. Then, at the NDC administration first budget reading, with Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell as the Minister of Finance, he told us, and there was an allocation of 2.5 million towards Project 500 for 500 houses in Stony Gut, St. John.
Commitment to affordable housing. Our commitment in this term, Mr. Speaker, is to deliver 500 high-quality, climate-resilient Grenadian-style houses. Two major initiatives in this budget cycle include: one, the Stony Gut Climate Resilient Housing Development Pilot Project, which aims to construct modern, high-quality, climate-resilient Grenadian-style homes in Stony Gut in the parish of St. John. Construction is expected to start in 2023, Mr. Speaker, and $2.5 million has been budgeted. Mr. Speaker, government will identify and secure lands in all parishes to roll out these houses. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, we have allocated $2.4 million.
Modern, high-quality Grenadian-style houses, right? Then the 500 Grenadian-style houses turned into prefab houses from Stony Gut to Dunfermline in St. Andrew.
And this is important because what we are trying to do is to make sure that we can significantly reduce the cost of housing in Grenada. If you ask to build a 2-bedroom
modest concrete house is at least $250,000, $300,000, $400,000. On the salaries that people are working for, you'll never be able to get a house at that price point. So what we are hoping to do with these contractors is to use technology, modern technology, that can allow us to do prefab houses. That is, houses that are actually built or manufactured as much as possible in factories, and then what you're doing is you are installing the homes. So we would build the foundations, but you are literally installing the homes, installing the plumbing, installing the electricity and the other amenities. What that should allow is for a much more rapid, I'm going to use the word installation of the homes, in a shorter space of time, where you can then do a lot of houses quickly and hopefully cheaply.
Now, you promised high quality, modern, high quality Grenadian style houses. You promised that. You did the math because you had an allocation. How now you know that it would be too expensive? And so you're giving us cheaper. So it's with cheaper quality for less money, right? You promised. So it's a set of talk from conception, from inception, a set of talk, right? That you can't keep up with. So we down to 500 prefab now, right? Then announcing an interview on the Grenada Information Service GIS, the chairman of the Housing Authority, Hugh Thomas, well, I don't know if he disappeared because, of course, Mr. Randy Dolan took over. He announced that Project 500 literally turned into Project 17.
Project 500, it's a government initiative to alleviate some of the stresses on the housing industry, to improve the housing stock. As you could appreciate, there's many reasons why persons are unable to build. It could be one, the availability of land. Two, it could be just the cost of building. So combining the two, Project 500 seeks to be able to find land for persons by having large areas of land and developing a community. So what we're trying to do is to have small homes, bigger homes, so that you have a wide range of persons and affordable homes. So if your person was trying to do it on their own, they would not have been able to afford a type of home like that. The quality of homes are such that it would stand up to the hurricane code, the building codes that we have here in Grenada. So it's more resilient. We take into consideration also in Project 500 that climate is changing, and we will try to bring in at a lower level climate smart techniques and material to improve the quality of the home. So we're not just building a regular home, we would try to have it with solar and some other facilities, water storing the facilities and so on, that you would not normally find in a regular housing project of our kind. So that's the difference between what we have done in the past and now. So this in a nutshell is Project 500, but we have 4 elements to Project 500. The first element deals with...
Now talk about metamorphosis, right? The Grenadian style, high quality, modern Grenadian style, we know that what that is. Nice little concrete houses turned into prefab. 500 turned into 17, right? And then there's Project Build Back Better. That's here.
Minister, I want to talk about the Build Back Better project because this supports individuals affected by Hurricane Beryl. Right? Yeah. Where are we at this time with this project?
So let me just backtrack. First of all, what we did as an administration, we thought that it was necessary to assist people who got affected by Beryl, first of all. And you know, and listen, this idea came about. I was on the airport in Carriacou. I had an engineer next to me. I said, listen, we just saw like all these houses on the ground. We saw the roof, some of the roof and so gone. You know, can we do something where we can build resilience in terms of the structure and also the roof. And I had the idea we can do a concrete frame and do the board around it, do a parapet roof. And in doing so, we are solving two problems. Number one, the problem of the structure of the house, and number two, the roof. He did it up, and we got one of the guys, the builders, to do an actual building. And when we did that, we saw that it solved the problem. Yeah, it was very cost effective at the same time, and immediately we targeted St. Patrick's, who got affected the worst from Beryl, Carriacou also. And I could tell you we are approaching about 200 houses being built by Project Build Back Better. That's in Grenada. In Carriacou is over 100. Carriacou and PD Martin together is close to 150 around there. That is being built, and that is continued to build.
What's the target number?
So we are looking at over 200 for Carriacou, and also in Grenada at a point in time. Yeah, in total we're looking at about close to about 300 houses in terms of that got. So after the hurricane, we assessed the damages from level 1 to level 4. And the level 4 meaning the worst. And when you look at the worst, it was over like 300 houses. But besides building houses, we assisted people with materials for repairs. We assisted people who've got damage that just needed a replacement in both Grenada and Carriacou. We have spent over $40 million on Build Back Better in Grenada alone.
And that is so far?
So far.
Is that number likely to increase?
Well, this year, we have done a lot this year also. When it comes to Carriacou, I can tell you Carriacou spent over $20 million, again, in just building and materials. Yeah. So we are really doing our best, because we understand that people, when you talk about government, you cannot be a government and not take care of your people. Yeah. So we are doing that because we know that at the end of the day, Kenway, listen, a house is a big deal for someone, and someone losing the house means a lot. Yeah. So that's where we are with the Build Back, but not just building back the house. What we did in the construction of the Build Back Better, we separated some of the functions in terms of, we have a contractor doing the building, we have a next contractor doing the plumbing, the electrical work, even the painting. Yeah, I went, for example, in the Limes, got guys to come. We had a meeting on the Limes basketball court, and got guys off the block to come and start to paint, plumbing, electrical, even in Grandlands Valley. Yeah, we have guys like John Del Fletcher, who came in as a young person and just learning some of the stuff in construction. Now he's building houses, he's doing roads. We have guys like Troy Charles. Troy is a good mobilizer in the community. And we got Troy to get some guys in the valley and so in the Limes, and they painted the Woburn Community Center that we did over. They are painting houses and so. And so it's not just about building back the house, but also building your people and helping them to improve their capacity also. But besides.
So how do you know you solved the problem when your Build Back Better houses are not yet tested? We're in the season. God forbid we get another hurricane. But it's not been tested. You build some things with, concrete and board, and you feel you build it better because it has some concrete frames around it. Hurricane knocking down big concrete houses, right? And, by the way, your Build Back Better houses are not being signed off by planning. The Planning and Development Authority, and I called in because I've been hearing they're not certified. And when I called in, I was told that the very first one, the one you build for your neighbor in Grandans, and this thing about Grandans and more material was more available, that's BS. Now, that one, planning they looked at and they passed. It was okay. They gave it a pass. And you were told, you all were told that they need to certify every individual house. Different people building house. People scrape up from the court in the Limes building house now. You said it. You picked him up there, they couldn't do nothing. You pick him up there, he was started off learning. Now he building house and he building road. That's why them road falling apart. That's why banks coming down everywhere. Waste of our money and our resources because you're busy doing things, election coming up, right? You said that. So if you pick up people alongside the way and you give them also bill, planning needs to certify that because it's not the same person using the same guidelines that build the first one. And that's the only one they certified. That's the only one. I was told all they know, they hear and seeing house going up, and nobody's coming to them, nobody's telling them that, nobody's asking them a question. I blame planning the authority anyway. They're not doing their job because I guess it's government, right? I want you to hear the explanation when asked about the planning authority.
Well, any one of y'all can actually take it. No, actually, I'm going to ask Minister Williams. With all the houses that have been built, the Physical Planning Authority, yes, I think that is the correct name, that law requires, recommends, and mandates, whichever one we want to use, that every structure that is to be built or erected in Grenada be approved by the Physical Planning Authority. Can you confirm this morning that houses under the Build Back Better as well as Project 500 has been approved? Each one that has been done so far has been approved by the Physical Planning Authority.
Right, so Project 500, yes, we got the approval from planning. As a matter of fact, the person that is leading that project is a gentleman by the name of Randy Dolan, and all due care and so was taken into consideration. When we are doing the Build Back Better project, we brought planning on site because we knew that we would have needed a quick approval from them to move forward. So we brought them on site. As a matter of fact, these two gentlemen here was with me when we went on site, when we did the pilot one that's in Grand Anse. And the reason why it was done in Grand Anse is because the materials and everything would have been closer, and we wanted to do it in the quickest possible manner. So yes, planning has been involved. And let me just add to this also, you didn't ask the question, but I want to add this to it. Even we have a special housing project that we also do. So not only the Build Back or the Project 500, but the normal housing project. And those have automatic approval from planning. And in those, in the reconstruction, we have put things like hurricane straps, and so that will minimize the effects of hurricane in time to come. So planning, yes, is involved, and we are doing our best to ensure that we build back with a difference and we build back stronger so that and more resilient, so that in the effect of another hurricane, if another hurricane were to pass, we will be more prepared than before.
You hear lie? I'll get back to you all on what is an automatic approval because I've never heard that one before, and I'll have to call into planning and find out what is automatic approval. And as he said, is for the regular housing program. But the Build Back Better, I can tell you that he is lying about planning's involvement. Planning was only involved in the very first house, and the rest of it, they just going ahead, doing it on their own. Now, according to Mr. Williams, Mr. Andy Williams, the Build Back Better project, 200 houses built in Grenada and 150 in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. So I took note of that carefully. And the two things I went to that press conference for, to ask about the project Build Back Better, because we're in another hurricane season, right? And to ask about the bribery. Two things. Okay? So, here is what Mr. Tevin Andrew had to say. Tevin, you said 150 Build Back Better houses?
Build Back Better, social development, and prefabricated homes.
Also, I want to know about the Build Back Better houses. How many Build Back Better houses in Carriacou? And Pitimatnik, separately?
Both Carriacou and Pitimatnik, we're looking at approximately 70 Build Back Better homes. 17? 70. 70. Yeah. Total? Total.
No, can you just tell me how much in Pitimatnik, for instance?
In Pitimatnik, there is, I believe there is 6 or 7 Build Back Better homes.
Build Back Better?
Yeah.
Delivered?
Under construction.
So none delivered in Pitimatnik?
No, they are about 90% completed.
It's not delivered, it's being completed?
It's being completed, yes.
Right. And in Carriacou, how many delivered? Because I've been following you when you hand out your keys.
Yeah, we actually handed over one on Saturday. I can't recall the exact amount that was delivered so far, but I know for a fact it's over 10.
Okay. Now we're talking. All right. I just wanted to know because it's being jumbled, and I'm not sure. It has so many different housing projects. Project 500, Project Build Back, Project...
No, well, Sister Jenny, you could proceed with the question.
No, let me take my time. Let me take my time. If you need to stop me, then stop me for good.
I wouldn't stop you.
I get cut off the other night.
No, I wouldn't stop you. So you can proceed with the questions.
I all right with that, right? So there we have it. What Kevin Andrew has said there, basically there are 10 build back houses that were finished. I mean, if you build 1,000, you wouldn't remember, or 1,560 something, you probably would not remember. But if you build hand out keys for 10, you know you hand out keys for 10. So the 70 disappeared. First of all, the 150 disappeared, it came down to 70, and it's 10. The 5 or 6 in Pitimatnik that he says is all 90%, that's not true either. That's not true, right? They're lying, all of them across the board, just throwing out figures, throwing out numbers. Where it's stick. Who believe. And that is what they don't want. They don't want you to take them to task for their lies. So they come on there and everybody's saying something different. This is the first I've heard about the 70, right? So really and truly, 10 Build Back Better houses we have in Carriacou. The gentleman said 200 in Grenada, and we know that's a lie as well, right? We know that is not true. The MIT minister said they spent over 40, he spent actually, over $40 million was spent in Grenada alone on Project Build Back Better. 40, he said it, $40 million, right? The truth is, I was reliably informed, and coming from the inside, right up in the inside, that $42 million was spent in 2 months by Minister Andy Williams. Spent or missing, I don't know. 42 million is unaccounted for really, but he says he spent it in building houses, right? 42 million, not 40, he said 40. But the figure I got from up inside there, 42, yes, in the cabinet, $42 million was spent in 2 months. And we're talking about after the budget was read. So the budget was read in March. So April and May, we know in June, 42 million was spent. And now, as far as I understand, they're trying to take money from this person own and that person own to give to him to spend again. One minister is not at all happy about it. Not at all happy about it. MIT, better they call it Ministry of Embezzlement, and just leave it so. And we'd have been happy. You say, okay, that's the name. It justifies the name, right? In 2024, Vote 29, the Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation, right, under the supplementary budget, Minister Williams was given a total of $24.5 million to spend. 8 million was supposed to go to roads, small roads, and the completion of 26 homes and the building of 15 new houses in St. Patrick, right? In St. Patrick. Remember the 15 million that was given to him to build 200 houses at $50,000 per house. Remember that? We have not heard anything about these houses that cost $50,000 per house. That's $15 million there. And together with 1.5 million for cleaning up, it came up to a total of $24.5 million in the supplemental. Now, when the budget was read, it turns out that Minister William, the total given to him, the approved estimate, was $27,898,000. Minister Williams spent $36,026,423. Mr. William, from vote 29 under the MIT ministry. But of course, if you can do a project and you go down to the ministry, they give you $15,000 cash and $500 tip. You ever hear that? A ministry giving tips and $500 tip, right? And if that kind of cash is moving, I understand recently a staff member was fired. So I'll bring it to you as how I only heard it yesterday. So I didn't have time to investigate it. Because she refused to sign up on money that had been moving from an account, just moving, right? And the Miss Dawn that is going to the bank with the service providers and bringing back the cash, calling these gentlemen down, making sure that they walk with your ID, giving them a check in their name to change in the bank. Yeah, and all it telling me he didn't take a bribe. All it covering up for him. And Bolin, he didn't take no bribe. All you know, we go find out. According to them, we go find out. You don't worry. It's all in good time. All in good time. But as I was telling you, that he was given 27 million. Well, you could say 28 because it's 898. He spent 36 million. Yeah. This is what we're dealing with, and we should not speak about it in order to have young people come into government. We must not say anything about it. And he didn't come here for that. And he come here, his constituents vote him in to serve them, so he don't have time to deal with that. They on right along, they told him to sue me. He said, no, he won't. Not no, he won't. No, he can't. He cannot. All that I'm telling you here are facts. And that is why I went to the Integrity Commission. That is why I have 3 claims in the Integrity Commission. So I wait because the Integrity Commission is important for me to finish off that. I have to give evidence. Now, when I make a claim, or anybody, if you make a claim in the Integrity Commission, you have to have your facts to show. You understand that? You understand that? Because if I claim such, I have to show the integrity. What am I talking about? Where is this facts? Right? We getting somewhere now? Okay. We getting somewhere now. 26 houses you have to finish construct, and another 15 here, and 200 there. That is where the embezzlement is taking place. They're washing money with these housing projects. And we must sit down and not say anything. Young people are supposed to stay away from an administration like that unless they too are corrupt. unless they too are corrupt. So we know there ain't no houses. And you see that Project 500? That's an abortion. That is an abortion. So there ain't no houses to show for the amount of monies this guy have spent. In total, 102,526,423 altogether. $102 million. We do know, however, that monies, cash monies, are being moved back and forth and under that MIT ministry. So I want to just talk back a little to tell you about the whole housing thing, right? The property in Mount Parnassus, he sold that to Mr. Nelson Uzon of CCCCI, the contractor of the Cliff Road project, and he took the bribe. Again, I'll say it 100 times today if I have to, because it's a fact. And this is where facts come first. So all you try to do, because I'm not accredited, so it's not a fact, because I go into a press conference that I'm not a journalist, and I was accepted, and I was told to ask my questions by the moderator. So I don't understand now how I have no right to go there. So he sold that for 600,000, and then he had the 100,000. And I want to ask Minister Andy a question. Did you still have a white Isuzu pickup truck, number plate T4254? Is that yours? Yes, that's the one that was being rented with the bam bam missing. It was going. The bam bam was falling out. That one. That was in the garage, up on hoist and being done over. Yeah, I saw it. Right? T4254. Is that your truck, Minister? Well, that is the truck that costed $15,000 to renovate as part of the slap hand deal for the contract. Yeah. That is the truck. Tell me a lie. Tell me I'm lying on you. I know you can't say you did it. So I'm okay with you saying you didn't do it. But you can't tell me I'm lying, though. That you took bribe. And that's a crime. And the Prime Minister and everybody else who turn in their head, you know what they say? The upholders are worse than the thief. That's what you call them? Proverbs, cliche. I don't know what it is. But all of us know it. Right? All of us know what I'm talking about. Now, I just want to share with you that clip with me and the Minister Andy at the at the press conference. When you at the beginning of your presentation, you spoke of integrity, NDC and integrity and so on. And I know from being in NDC for, it would have been 28 years this year.
Really?
Come back home.
It's not too late.
A card-bearing member, somebody who pays subs and things, because a lot of people are NDC people on Facebook and so on. They don't pay no subs. They don't contribute to the NDC. This year would have made me 28 years. So I know of the core values of the NDC. And integrity is one of the core values.
Correct.
It is rumored, and you got a question the other night, you didn't answer it really, that you're involved in a bribery case with the contractor of the Cliff Road project. Switch for the contract, 100,000. I'm going to get it right. The lady did not get it right the other night. She said 150. It's 115. 100,000 in your hand and 15,000 to fix your pickup truck. Are you, sir, denying that?
No. First of all, let me just see this, Ms. Simon or Mrs. Simon.
No, it's Miss.
Well, Ms. Simon, and I want to watch you in your eyes, right? Because I've heard you made these accusations on your show a number of times. And frankly, I'm not one who will run about and wasting my time to deal with these petty issues that have been rumored.
Are you calling bribery petty? Because bribery is a crime.
Give me a chance to answer the question, please.
And no, because
I gave you a chance to speak.
Okay.
Give me my chance to speak. Thank you, right?
I hope I'll get the time to come back.
No problem, ma'am.
Okay.
No, anything I do it with full transparency. And exactly what you're saying there, it is completely false. Okay? And I've heard you mention that a minister signing a contract. I want to educate you. In 1997, I started working by teaching. And I want to teach you something here today. A minister doesn't sign a contract. It's a permanent secretary that will sign a contract. Now, frankly, the Cliff Road was done under the Ministry of Infrastructure. My ministry is the Ministry of Mobilization, Implementation, and Transformation. So let me just go further, right? And I'm speaking to you, and I want to watch you in your eyes to speak to you.
And I'm watching you in yours too.
Good. Because, you know, when we enter politics, we understand that, and I've had it, people will say all sorts of things about you. And as a politician, you have to broaden your back. But Ms. Simon, when you do things like that, you know what you do to our young people? You discourage them from even wanting to get involved in politics. Because, you know, someone who wants to give back to their country meaningfully, when they hear your tone and the way how you get on with these things, they may just be discouraged. And, you know, and you're not doing a good for the country. No, the reason why I don't respond to these things is because my constituents did not elect me to take on these foolish rumors that you're making. They elected me to take care of them. And I tell you, if you look in a dictionary and you look for the word focus, you will see A-N-D-Y, Williams. I'm not distracted by these things, never distracted. And I say, do no evil, fear no evil. That's my motto. So, I'm just saying that you can go ahead and make all these allegations and so. I will not respond because that is not why I was elected into office. I was elected to serve the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Matnick, and to serve my constituents, not to respond to these foolish rumors that you are making. Okay. And I'm saying it in the most respectful manner. Yeah. All right? Thank you.
So we had two questions. Kalisha also had two questions. Now tell me, you have a final question? All right, so you have a final question?
No, I need to come back.
All right, come back. We'll come back.
You tell me, leave him to speak, and then I'll come back. I'm back. Because, Minister,
you gotta call the
you are misleading the country, and you're lying. You see, when you talk about young people and deterring young people from joining politics, are we supposed to allow you, and when I say you, I'm not meaning directly you know, allow politicians to do the wrong, right. Turn a blind eye.
Let me just stop.
So hold on.
No, hold on. If there is, you have to ask a question. Hold on. If there is anything that you believe that is unscrupulous, you have the Ombudsman, you have the Integrity Commission, and you have the media itself to go and bring the information. So you can proceed to doing that. I want to ask you specifically to provide your question so that we can get on with the press conference.
And the minister
Right.
lied.
So
Because
no.
I have evidence
Right.
to show that he's lying.
Sister Jenny, you can produce the evidence to Interpol, FBI, Grenada Police, whoever you need to go ahead and do that.
I know he's lying.
We are in a press conference. You are
And you
going
speak
to be.
of integrity.
No. Hold on.
And that is unethical.
So, Sister Jenny, are you?
So you see, I was supposed to come back to clear up some things into, but no, when time to come back, I need to ask another question. That's okay. And I understand because it was becoming into a back and forth, and really that's not the place for it as well. But that's what happens when you go to a press conference, they say what they say. Somebody might ask a question, they lie, and you can't come back to tell them that they lie. Or in the first instance, they lie, and nobody says anything, and that's what they're accustomed to, right? But I ain't gonna get another chance to do that. So, but we'll talk on Simon Says, of course. So I'm making a public call here for the relevant authorities to do the following investigations. Because I don't understand how a podcaster could make an allegation, or what you want to call it. I don't know, rumor, what you want to call it. I know it's facts, but you can call it what you want. And where's the authority to investigate what I said? Nobody. So I'm asking for an investigation or investigations. All of the accredited journalists and the investigative journalists, all of you, the PSC, the FIU, the Minister of Infrastructure, the Prime Minister, right? All of you, the police, the different media houses, the ones that can go to the press conference that I'm not supposed to go to. Y'all bright, y'all are journalists, y'all are media workers. Do your investigation, right? Do your investigations on. Let me just give you a little help. Find out in the circumstances surrounding the granting of loans from the GDB to Andy Williams. Find out the circumstances surrounding that. Find out the circumstances surrounding the sale of the property in Mount Parnassus and the company GANE, G-A-N-E, Limited. Identify the beneficial owner of GANE Limited. Find out about the repairs to Mr. Andy Williams' pickup truck, a white Isuzu T4254. Find out all circumstances, and I mean all circumstances, surrounding the granting and the signing of the road contract for the Cliff Road project and the True Blue Road project. Put it in there. Yes, it's in there. It's involved. And the True Blue Road project being executed by the company CCI, contractor Mr. Nelson Lewison, to all relevant authorities. And I will continue to ask. I will continue to ask. Now let me make it quite clear to George Worm, Calista Ferrier, Andy, whoever, the ones of you that clicking up, right? I am not an accredited journalist, nor have I ever pretended to be. I have no powers to arrest. What I do is to bring to the public credible information, facts. And that's my job. Right now, I take it on as my job. Those of you who are qualified to do your job as an accredited journalist, do your job. An investigative journalist, do your job. Go and investigate me and what I say. But absolutely no one, none of you, you could give me 10 front pages. None of you will force my hand and make me compromise my source. None of you. I'll deal with the Integrity Commission. It will happen. And on that note, I want to report that after a long while, my friends, I had a visit this week from a drone. I had a drone visit this week. I had a drone visit. Now, according to Minister Williams, he picked up boys off the blocks in the Limes, Grandans Valley, maybe Montouth, I'm not sure, because you have a shortage of human resource and people to build houses. Because remember, it's 1,000 in 1 year. You have a lot more to build. He building quick. He built 1,000 already, right? He spoke of one guy in particular who today is a construction builder and road builder just by picking him up off the court in that one came from the lines. Now, is this young man a licensed contractor? Where did he get his training from? Right? And you come out in public and you telling us that I am hoping that the planning authority is hearing this as well. Right? So we can understand why Tanti Glow was talking what she was talking about on the Heartbeat program and why she looked and sounded so distressed and like drowning. Sarah.
Came out clearly after the burial response.
Yeah.
We were looking for contractors to do small houses, and we were not getting contractors.
Yeah, exactly.
So then we hire people, they say they could build, and when you see what they build, it's a disaster, next disaster. You know, so we really need to get our people, especially our young men, upgraded with skills.
Yes.
Yeah. Because some of them, they've been around construction as a helper, but they have not acquired the skill to go on their own.
Right.
You know, and that is a challenge.
No, I've heard it around. I've heard it several times about these houses and which are already leaking and different problems. And now I understand that we are getting well, if I hear Syrians building houses and all in town, things slow in town, they contributed towards the elections, they had to get something back. They stand up during the day just watching people pass by. So they have Syrians who got contract for the Build Back Better project. And so I could understand the substandard. And Tantiglo said it. They build a house and they in build good. I felt sorry for her. Really felt, and I'm being very genuine here now. Because you know what? She's just a rubber stamp when it comes to housing and being Minister of Housing. She's just a rubber stamp. That's all everybody around her collecting, bagging. And she's just there, right? She's just there. Now, as I say, I have to fast track, but I want to share with you a clip from the press conference with, I think it was my very first engagement with the panel, and I spoke to the mediator, Ron Redhead.
Recognize Sister Jenny Simon. I don't know what media house Simon says. I just acting general. All right, sure. Go ahead.
Citizen representing the citizen that's following.
All right. Go right in.
So I'll start with you, MP Ron. How's the studies going?
Studies is going well. You know, master's degree plus politics is not an easy thing, and you work as hard as you can to achieve it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now remember, he was fired so he could go and study and then spend more time in his constituency. Remember that? So it's been a while. I'm a good friend. So I asked him how the studies was going. And mind you, he got a full scholarship to St. George's University. And again, it's against the law. According to the Constitution, and I don't have the time to read it to you now, but I can tell you the section you can pull up on the internet, section 31, subsection 1E, and section 33.2. Check them out. And you'd see that Ron Redhead, Deacon Mitchell, Dennis Cornwall, Andy Williams, Delma Thomas, and Lennox Andrew, none of them supposed to be in the cabinet of Grenada nor in the parliament of Grenada. None. The names that I call out. I attempt to investigate the rest yet. None of them. According to those sections that I tell you. Anybody can pull up the Constitution, right? Google it or pull it up online. But my news today concerns MP Ron Redhead and his studies. There's not so much good news. All this about juggling between studies and being an MP, Ron Redhead failed the program and was placed on academic probation, monitoring his progress. There was no improvement, so he was given a dismissal to leave the program. He had up to the end of May to submit his appeal or withdraw. Okay? The gentleman doesn't have a bachelor's degree, but he's telling us, or he was enrolled in a master's degree. Don't ask me how. I guess with being an MP or a minister, you can do anything, break the laws, do anything. He couldn't, it's not that he didn't have a bachelor's, he tried it. He couldn't do it. He failed time and time again. So how is he enrolled in a master's degree? And why would you take the government monies, a full scholarship that can go to someone who really needs it, and give it to Ron? Same thing happened. Same thing happened. He failed. I leave him. I let him go ahead, and I smiled. But they fret me, so I go tell all you anything and everything I get, I go tell all you. Yes, I go tell all you. Folks, I gotta stop. There's some more, but I gotta stop. Folks, that's a wrap on today's episode of Simon Says. It's always a pleasure conversing with you, keeping them honest, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. Thank you for viewing another episode of Simon Says, where facts come first. I'm your host, Jenny Simon. See you next week, same time, same place. Not Fridays. Hopefully we can be back on Thursday from next week. Happy Whit Monday to you guys. It's a long weekend, I believe. Be careful, be safe. See you. I love you all. It was bribery. Thank you for tuning in to Simon Says. To ensure that you never miss an episode, click subscribe and make sure to turn on the notifications by clicking on the notification bell icon. See you at the next episode.